Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. That is the prevailing emotion I have after today's game. I guess not today. After the 3-2 Ottawa Charge win over the Minnesota Frost. Now, why am I so blasé after a Charge when I should be pumped? Especially after a win of this importance, right? I literally said in my last video, we have to beat the Frost. We have to. If we lose and that's it, the season's over. I stand by that. But it's hard to feel like the season isn't already over. Because even though we won 3-2 in regulation, I wanted a regulation win. We're 5 points back of Minnesota. We have 2 games in hand. We could catch up. We'll have to catch up with our backup. Because after recording her 1,000th regular season save, the first goaltender in PWHL history to reach this milestone, Emrance Maschmeyer went down with injury. She saved 18 of 18 shots. Shot number 19 beat her, and she got injured. First off, I think she should have been one of the 3 stars. Saved 18 of 19 and is a big reason why we won this game. I get, Vasco 100%, first star, but I thought Emrance deserved at least second star. She played a very good game, and this game could have gone differently if she didn't step up to the plate. After her other game against the Frost, terrible first period, didn't look too good, didn't look too hot. I gotta admit, a little bit surprised that they gave her the net. And I was happy to see that she was right back to form. What did I say in my last video? Oh, we gotta give Phillips a bit more games. I called Maschmeyer the most overworked goaltender. And I admit, maybe I didn't look at all my stats. Did she have the most minutes played? No. Did she have a lot of minutes played? Yes. And I also felt just in general that, yes, Frankel has got more minutes played, but there's no reliable backup in Boston. And I felt like, we have a reliable backup in Phillips. You can give her a few more games and still trust that you'll do well. I hope the injury is nothing big. I waited a little bit because I wanted to see if there would be an update, but I haven't heard any updates yet. But it didn't look good in the moment, and the fact that I don't have any updates yet is not a good sign. And I am really, really worried that Gwyneth Phillips is going to have 8 more games as the starter, at least, for the rest of the season. I'm genuinely worried that Maschmeyer is not going to play for the rest of the season. And even if she is, when? Are we going to have 5 of our remaining 8 games without her? And it's not that I don't trust Phillips. I do. Here's the thing. I actually am almost more scared that we do have a good goaltender, because it leads us potentially into one of 2 options. And I like and don't like either of them. Option 1, Phillips plays good but not good enough. We missed the playoffs yet again. And look at how we've done recently. Yes, there was that stinker against Minnesota. We had a 5-game point streak before then. We've gotten points in 6 of our last 7. Ever since that break, I know we had another break, but we've done pretty good. We've had a hot second half of the season. There was some optimism, some reason to believe that, hey, maybe this second half of the season, we will be able to climb back into the fight. It's hard to do that without having your bona fide starting goaltender in between the pipes. And if we lose a lot of close games, it'll be hard not to say, oh, if Maschmeyer was in net, oh man, who knows? That's nightmare scenario number 1. But there's another nightmare scenario, and that's if we do make the playoffs. I know, normally making the playoffs is never a nightmare scenario, but Ottawa fans, and also non-Ottawa fans, If Phillips plays out the rest of the regular season and we make the playoffs, what do you do? What do you do? When Maschmeyer is healthy, do you give her the net back, despite the fact that Phillips was given a good chunk of season and was 5 points back? If she comes in, saves your season, and clinches your first playoff berth, do you tell her thanks, but you're still number 2? Or do you tell the heart and soul of the team, a lot of people, including myself's favorite player, the Ottawa Emirates Maschmeyer, who's been here since day one, who was one of the first 3 players to sign with the team, with Jenner and Clark, do you tell her, thanks, but we're actually giving the starting role to somebody else? I really hope she's healthy enough that down the stretch she plays some games. You know, that if we're still in the playoff race, we have 4+ games left when Maschmeyer is healthy. So you can confidently give her those games, and then, you know, we live and we die by Emirates Maschmeyer, because that's how we've been. And I said, Phillips is good. I'm happy that she's probably going to get to see a few more starts. She's, I think, almost certainly going to start Saturday. If Maschmeyer's okay and she starts, I'd be happy. I think irregardless, you have to start Phillips on Saturday. You cannot take that risk when Maschmeyer, even if she is healthy and says, I'm good to go, you don't take that risk. You don't. Phillips is good. You give her the rest. We still have lots of season to play. But we're in a bad spot either way. Either our backup is going to save our season, and then what do you do? Do you tell Phillips, who, let's be honest, and I've seen people say it, she's starting caliber. She is. And with expansion, she is super starting caliber. Do you hang on to her, somebody 5 years younger, who's probably got, you know, Maschmeyer's 30. I think we can get a good 10 years of Emirates Maschmeyer being a very good goaltender. 5 to 10 years. Phillips is 25. That could be 15 years. That could be dynasty lengths. Dynasty length still with Maschmeyer, though. They're both young. They're both good. They both are starting quality goaltenders. It's clear who our number 1 has been. It's clear that Maschmeyer is the undisputed starting goaltender for the Ottawa Charge. I've seen this story before, and it happens in sports, right? Great player or goalie or whoever gets injured. The backup comes in, steals the show, and steals the spot. It does happen. And I'd hate for that to happen to Maschmeyer, because, again, like, I am a big Maschmeyer fan. I think that she is my favorite player. When I get a numbered jersey, she's right now at the top of my list. It's like Maschmeyer, Clark, Hughes, Venisheva, outside chances. But Maschmeyer's not number 1. Right now, yeah, she's my favorite player on the Charge. I'm making this video also on the trade deadline, knowing that we didn't trade anyone. I would have rioted if we traded Maschmeyer. I would have actually lost my mind. If we ever do that. Ever. Like, not just at all. I'm actually glad that we didn't make any more moves. But also, if we don't make the playoffs, oh boy. I think that, you know, we got scared because we made moves last season, and those moves directly led to us not making the playoffs. So this season, it's a bit more of like, just trust the process. We got it. Again, I think down the stretch, we've actually been good lately. It's easy to say, oh, the Charge stink. Look at our recent play. Recently, we've been a pretty decent team. I think we've won, 3 or 4 of our past 7? I think 4 out of 7. And 2 of our 3 losses in overtime. That's good. That's good. I'm not complaining. If we play like that for the rest of the season, for the final 8 games, we will make the playoffs. But that is a huge wrinkle having Maschmeyer out. A huge, huge wrinkle. I can break down the game. You know, we had a good start, lots of chances, lots of zone time. But despite the fact that I liked the start, it was very low event. Shots were 2-1 through halfway in the first period. It took us forever just to get to shots at 3-1. With 4:14 left, we had an interference call against the Frost, put us on the power play, and we make the power play count. It was awful last game against the Frost. This game, it was better. I think we had 2 or 3 power plays, and some of them didn't look as good, but this one took us 13 seconds, and Brianne Jenner off a rebound, 1-0. Ottawa scores, takes the lead. We end the period up by 1. That's where we want to be. It was not a high event period. Mashmeyer was playing very good. 1-0. I felt like we were playing our game again. And the second period, awful start. We were under siege, and the only reason why it stayed a 1-0 game is because of, you know her name, Emrance Mashmeyer. We finished the first, shots were 7-2, and within like 5 minutes, shots were tied in the second. Like, under siege. We don't do ourselves any favors by taking a penalty. Now, we had a pretty decent power kill, honestly. Not even penalty kill. It was almost a power kill. We had a few chances. They applied pressure at first, and then the second half of that, we had a few jailbreak chances. I'm sure that won't be a foreshadowing event. We do really good at killing it off, staying calm. After the penalty kill, we got a filthy dangle by Victoria Bach, who nearly got the goal of the year. It gets saved, but no matter, because not long after, Vasco with her first goal is an Ottawa Charge. She scores wide open for the snipe. Absolutely no one on her. It was daylight. It was an easy goal. And what a feed by Snodgrass, might I add. This play isn't possible if it isn't for the feed from Snodgrass to a wide open Vasco who doubles the lead. 2-0 Ottawa. This swings momentum firmly our way. The Frost take a penalty. We got a chance to bury them. And even though we don't get much done with this power play, but we kill time. We get to the third period, up 2 goals. Now we just got to hold the fort, and that's been a problem in the past, but we're up 2-0. We just got to hold firm, hold strong. Don't blow a 2-goal lead in the third period and you're good. Guess what happens? It was a great game, by the way. If we lost, I would have been so mad, but because we won, I can just look back objectively and be like, what a great, the past 2 games I've went to are probably the most fun I've had at a PWHL game. Finally winning in overtime, and this was back and forth. We got a goal in all 3 ways. It was a great game. It really was. Another power play, another opportunity right at the start of the third. Literally within under a minute, we again have a chance to put the game away. And we don't do anything. Again, the power play looks weak, but okay. I'm also thinking now time is becoming a factor, but not long after the power play ends, we take a penalty of our own. I'm gonna get into it, but I thought the refs were pretty good this game. There was a few things at the end of the third, and I'll get into that, but it's okay. It's okay. I can't be mad at every little thing. This is not a game where I would have said, "Oh, the refs cost us," or "The refs blew it." They did a good job. This was an obvious hook, and honestly, I will say we've gotten a lot better when it comes to penalties. We still aren't amazing, but it's night and day, and there's a reason why we've gotten more wins lately. This is a big reason why. We aren't in the box as much as we used to be. And in 1-goal games, that can make all the difference. And we see it here because, we get another good kill, we eat up time, and, that's good. You're about to see what's going to happen. Like I said, we have what happened with Mashmeyer where she gets 1,000 saves, standing ovation. Then, a little while later, only a few shots later, she goes down with injury and gets scored on. Brutal. I liked our PK. I liked our play. I liked our goaltending. I can't blame Mashmeyer on this one, but she goes down. It's obvious. It's bad. Pretty quick. And she goes down the tunnel. And then Gwyneth Phillips comes in, and we don't even give her time to practice. We don't even shoot her a bit. We just put her in, no nothing. It's 2-1, and they nearly tie it, but the call on the ice is no goal. Or so it seems. In the moment, I was mad. In the moment, I thought it was blatant goaltender interference. I've looked at it multiple angles. I still think it's goalie interference. I think this because I'm a biased fan. I felt that the initial contact, I don't think was goaltender interference, actually. She got pushed into the crease. Minnesota challenged, and they did win the challenge. The game was ultimately tied. And the refs called it no goal on the ice. I felt she got pushed into Maschmeyer. Well, she got pushed into the crease, and she didn't stop herself from going into Maschmeyer. Which, if we scored a game-tying goal in the same situation, and that got waved off for goalie interference, I would have been incensed. I would have said, are you kidding me? She got pushed into the goalie. That should count. That's a good goal. And that's kind of the way I see it. If the roles were reversed and I'd be able to say, oh no, if they counted that goal, I'd be saying we got away with one. The problem is the play continues, and I felt that she stayed on Maschmeyer well after she needed to be on her. She fell into Maschmeyer. Her stick made contact with Phillips. She stayed on Phillips longer than she needed it to. And her stick's on Phillips, and then they shift the other way. And I felt like she just stayed on Phillips when she now had the ability to clear the crease and not impede Phillips. I also think if Ottawa had scored a goal like this, and the call on the ice was a good goal, and it got reversed, I would have been incensed. I also feel like it is really hard for me to say unequivocally, 100%, there was no goalie interference. And the call on the ice was no goal. Do I think that they made the right call, though, at the end of the day? I'm mixed. Obviously, I'd prefer the goal to not stand. But I think the fact that I'm mixed is also part of the answer. If I, your local Ottawa fan, the die-hard Ottawa Charge guy who loves Ottawa, season ticket holder since day one, a ride or die for this team, is able to say, well, it was kind of a close call. I think there's your answer, right? It's fine. It's fine. It counts. And then we take a penalty, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Little did we know, here we go indeed, because on the penalty kill, another good penalty kill, the puck comes to Vasco, who scores her second of the night to make it 3-2. Somebody call ACDC, because we have a jailbreak in Ottawa, and that would stand as the winner. Phillips has a few more good saves, and we win the game. We keep our season alive. 5 points back in Minnesota. 2 games in hand. We are 2 regulation wins away from firmly holding the last playoff spot. We have, in my opinion, resuscitated our season. We have. Any other result, and I would have been able to say, okay, yeah, that's it. Like, pack it up. We're done. We kept ourselves alive with this win. But now the question becomes, how are we going to face adversity? If Maschmeyer can't play, are we going to roll over and die? Or is this team going to rise to the occasion and rise above and find a way to win these crucial games down the stretch? I believe. I'm a believer. And let me show you why. This is a game puck. Yeah, a game puck. They were selling game pucks. That is awesome. And please continue to. I wish that every team would do that. Like, have on your merch game pucks or game, balls, depending on the sport. It tells you exactly what it is. Look. It shows you the day, and it shows you the event. And now some of you recognize this day, this period, this event, this time. This puck was the second period tying goal from Snodgrass against the Sirens. This puck is from the game, a goal from the game where the Ottawa Charge won in overtime. Every single time they played, 7 times games ended in overtime. And every single time it burned us. And we also had 4 shootouts. We won a single one. We had a 1-10 record after regulation. Every single night that we would go to overtime, it was a sign of death. And yet, I believed. Every time I stuck it out and I said, no, we got this. We got this. So even though, lots of people are going to doubt our ability to make the playoffs, especially with the adversity, we got this. We're in charge of our own fate again. Win those games in hand and match Minnesota. That is all you have to do. And you've played good recently. You saved your season. And Matt Schmeier's stolen a lot of games. Let's steal a few for her. And as always, go, Ottawa, go!